in the lower portion of your screen. And if you're calling in, you can dial *9 and you will be recognized when it's your turn to speak. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Burke,
Here.
Commissioner Slaymaker,
Here.
Commissioner Store.
Here.
I'm not hearing.
He said here, but
He did,
we
okay.
can't really hear him.
Commissioner Hart,
Here.
Commissioner Lasky,
Here.
Sound is coming.
Chair Carapiet,
Here.
and Vice Chair Johnson is not present.
Item number B, excuse me, is the open forum. This is an opportunity for any citizen to briefly address the Planning Commission on any matter that does not appear on this agenda. Upon being recognized by the chair, please state your name and limit your oral statements to no more than 3 minutes. Matter that appear to warrant a more lengthy presentation or commission consideration will be agendized for further discussion at a later meeting. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak during the open forum?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Looking over at the attendees, I see 7 attendees. At this time, we ask that if you've joined remotely, you select the raise hand icon to speak. If you have called in, if you can press *9 and we will unmute you when your name is called.
Lola, stop it.
So looking over at the attendees, with 7 attendees, there is no raised hands. No one is wishing to speak.
Okay, thank you. Item number C, reports. Do any commissioners have any reports to present?
Nope.
Does the staff have any reports that they need to present? Okay, moving on to item number D. The consent calendar consists of items that the Planning Commission considers to be non-controversial. Unless any item is specifically removed by any member of the Planning Commission, staff, or audience, the consent calendar will be adopted by one motion. Items removed will be considered in the sequence as they appear below. If any members of the audience wish to have an item removed, follow the remote meeting procedures referenced above. If you do not have access to the Zoom meeting platform, please email the Acting Director of Planning and Building, Brad Evanson. And that's B as in boy, E, V as in Victor, A-N as in Nancy, S-O-N @cityofbelvedere.org. And indicate that you would like to remove a consent calendar item and identify the item. After removing the item, the Planning Commission will call for comment at the appropriate time. Does anyone wish to remove do any planning commissioners wish to remove anything from the consent calendar?
No.
Is there anyone on Zoom?
Looking over at the attendees, again, with 7 attendees, I see no raised hands.
Thank you. May I have a motion for item number 1?
I think I need to recuse myself since I didn't attend.
Okay. I make
I
a
make a
motion
motion
to
to
adopt
accept
the
the
draft minutes of the January 17th. Larry, did you have something?
No, I was just making the emotion, but go ahead.
I can't hear you. Oh, you were making the motion. We can't hear you very well, which is not good.
Then
Okay,
I'll just
Larry made the motion.
vote.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Moving on to the public hearing, item number E. For 31 Cove Road, demolition design review and revocable license application. Can we please have a staff report?
Madam Chairman, I need to recuse myself from that as I live within 500 feet.
Thank you. Larry Storr has recused himself because he lives within 500 feet of the subject property.
The point of order, I I know we did a motion and a second. Did we vote on the consent?
Oh,
calendar?
good point.
Just wanted to make sure we're all playing by the rules here. So,
Okay. So can we have roll call?
sure. This down here. Commissioner Burke,
Recused.
Commissioner Slaymaker,
Recused.
Recused.
She's recused.
Commissioner Store.
Yes.
I couldn't tell. Was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Hart,
Yes.
Commissioner Lasky.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And Chair Carpet.
Yes.
Okay. 302 recusals, all right. Now we can move on.
Thank you. So does the staff have a report for 31 Cove?
Yes, yes, we do. Thank you, Chair Carapiet and members of the Planning Commission. For your consideration this evening is an application for demolition permit, design review, and revocable license to demolish an existing home and construct a new single-family residence at 31 Cove Road. The project site is a 6,600 square foot lot in the R1L zoning district. The site is adjacent to single-family homes to the north, south, and west, and the Boardwalk Shopping Center to the east. The eastern portion of the site abuts a privately owned road where residents have been granted an access easement. The project proposes to demolish the existing 1,048 square foot residence and 310 square foot carport and construct a new FEMA compliant 2,966 square foot two-story residence with attached one-car garage. The main level would be set back 5 feet from both side yards, 10 feet from the rear, and 26 feet from the front yard. The second story would be set back 12 feet at the north side yard, 14 feet at the south, 40 feet from the rear, and 53 feet from the front yard. The project includes a covered patio and would replace the 6-foot front and rear yard fence and add 2 6-foot gates at the side and rear yard. There would also be exterior staircases and landings as well. The site is located within the AE flood zone as required by FEMA and the city ordinance. New construction is required to raise the house to base flood elevation plus 1 foot of freeboard as a safety factor. The project would raise the house approximately 3 feet and 1 inch from the original floor height to accommodate these FEMA and city requirements. The main level would have a maximum height of 22 feet from existing grade, and the second level would be 29 feet from existing grade. At the north elevation, the project would include 4 casement windows at the main level and 2 casement windows at the second level. An exterior staircase would be included to access the second story as well. The project includes a series of east to west slope gable roofs and horizontal wood siding. From the south elevation, the project would provide 3 casement windows at the second level and 2 casement windows at the main level. The front of the home would include 4 casement windows, 5 clear story windows, and a 20-foot by 8-foot and 11-inch bifold door leading to the living area. The project proposes Texas privet and jasmine vine to 6 feet tall at both side yards. Lavender would be planted at the front and rear of the property. And bougainvillea and 3 45 feet tall Japanese maples will be planted at the front yard. The project proposes 9 exterior wall sconces with 7 on the home and 2 at the rear entry gates. The project plans show a number of trees to be removed as part of this project. Some of the proposed trees have already been removed, including a cherry tree and walnut trees from the northern side yard. Here, staff suggests the commission ask the owner the reasoning for removing the trees without prior approval and consider having additional trees planted on site. The project requests a revocable license for private improvements within the Cove Road public right-of-way. These include replacing the existing sidewalk, curb, and gutter to meet current standards in conformance with the Marin County Uniform Construction Standards. Materials and colors include horizontal wood siding in a cloud white color, an asphalt shingle roof in charcoal, and white painted wood, windows, doors, handrails, and fencing. Up to now, there's been 8 letters supporting the project as designed, 8 letters opposing the current design and in support of the neighbors directly to the north of McMullins at 33 Cove Road. The primary concerns with this project have included privacy due to the north-facing windows and stairs, and then the mass and bulk of the second-story placement. The project is categorically exempt from CEQA. And as outlined in the staff report, staff believes the facts support the required design review findings and recommends the Planning Commission adopt the resolutions for the application at 31 Cove Road and recommend City Council approval of the revocable license. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do any commissioners have questions for staff? Claire,
No, not at this moment.
can we do something with the sound? Should they call in?
So are you having trouble hearing me now?
A little bit better, but not really.
I
Let
think
me,
it's our
have-
speakers, not you.
let me see if I put myself. Can you talk now, Marcia? Can you talk now?
Yeah, can you hear me better now? Can you hear me better now?
Not really.
Because I have my computer up all the way.
Oh, wait, we were checking volume here. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, turn it up more, but that might just be my microphone. I don't know.
We believe it's on Claire's end, that she has to control her volume from her own source.
I have it up all the way.
That's much better, actually. I can hear her. You can't hear her. Start over. Claire, do you have any questions for staff?
Not at this moment.
Thank you, Claire. Marcia, do you have any questions for staff?
I know I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone here have questions?
No
for staff?
questions for staff.
Okay, thank you. So can we have the presentation from the applicant, please?
Thank you, Sammy. Okay. Thank you, everybody. My name's David Holscher. This is Phoebe Holscher. We're the architects for the Dailies for 31 Cove Road. Our talk tonight is really about 3 words: effort to fit. Next word, in. A FEMA house in an old neighborhood, as we all know, in Belvedere, is extremely tricky. It's a maze. It's not giving. It's hard. And I think we're going to kind of go through how kind of thoughtful our analysis and how we put this together. This picture shows this perfectly, is how we broke up the massing. This house lines up perfectly with 33 Cove Road. Those 2 gables are 6 inches apart. We began this process with kind of a thorough understanding of the neighborhood. 2, which is very, very unique, and I think this might be the first time this was been done on Cove Road, is we did the activity to the outside. We have the living room and kitchen and deck facing out. And as we all know in planning, that adds activity to the street. It creates motion. It creates what everybody kind of wants. I mean, I was taught that at school at least. And the problem you have on Cove Road is the other side has the lagoon and you have all backsides. And so we worked with this, and the main reason we did this too is we did not want this activity facing a neighbor. Again, this is a FEMA house trying to fit in. Slide 2, please. So, though this is kind of hard to see with the vegetation, those are the two gables literally even up, and that was kind of part of our work. So this was reviewed by Sandoval Architects, Inc., and I'm just going to read, it's like an 8-page thing. I'm just going to read one part of it real quickly. The new home has been thoughtfully designed to avoid monotony. Although the new home is a 2-story tall and its first level has been set approximately 3 feet 1 1/4 inch, I like the apartment with that, from the original home's floor height, the architect has tried to maintain a balanced and harmonious relationship with the site and between the adjoining residential properties. This whole discussion is kind of how we fit this in. The intention use of placing the mast in the second floor centrally with the interior of the site, along with stepping back of the vertical walls from the side property line, helps immeasurably in reducing the appearance of the excessive bulge, which in turn allows the project to fit better with the character and setting of the surrounding neighborhood around Cove Road. Next picture, please. So part of the analysis is twofold. Both our neighbors do a very typical site analysis in which they put all the massing on the north side of their house, create a courtyard, and live inside a courtyard on the north interior of the house. Being a FEMA home, we're not allowed to do that just because you can have a tremendous amount of massing on the north side of your lot. We centralized our work, which again, we did 2 things that I think are actually very unique. Centering the FEMA house and having the activity to the street. First things we thought about and the first things we created. And here's just showing kind of the scale. There's a lot of large homes on this side of Cove Road. Also, the numbers we all know, it's completely conforming in all aspects of the design. We asked for no variances. Sammy and I had a lot of good discussions, and this is a completely conforming house, which for a new home has to be. Next, please. This is the site plan you ever seen. Next, I want just the floor plan. It's a little easier. Next one, please. So the blue, the activity area is the main porch, outside the living, kitchen, and dining. You enter on basically the north side of a lot, and this is the service entry, which we're, again, so much respectful for our neighbor, though we have some disagreements, that this is the service side. This is like Le Corbusier, served and service. You come in and all the activity is to the south. You walk in, it's to the south. The master bedroom is to the south. Everything is, again, the energy is going towards the sun and away from that edge. We have the stairs on that side, which again is circulation. Circulation is not really what we consider occupiable space. It's movement space. It's space that you're not staying in per se. So again, the out facing of the porch, circulation down and facing the south, and the next important, because it is a FEMA house, the central location of everything. We balanced both neighbors. We didn't jam it up and say, hey, sorry, we're taking to have a courtyard. We did both sides. Next, please. And this is the second floor, the 2 bedrooms. Again, as centrally located as possible. Basically, when you do a vision line like you saw on the first picture, you cannot see this. It's hidden behind the first piece, very thoughtful and done on purpose. So from the street, you have the cottage feel, even though it's raised up. Hidden behind is 2 small bedrooms, and then the master bedroom and a small garage. Again, thoughtful presence, and also what's kind of unique is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different roof slopes, breaking up the massing. Again, this was one big linear thing, it would be very problematic. So this is part of our thought process in the design. Next, please. And here's a section. There was some misunderstanding concerning the height of the living room. As you can see, it's 14 feet 8 inches. We always use trusses just because it's easier to use and we have a long span there. And the room, we didn't put it in our drawing before, but it's a truss system with the roof below. And again, you can kind of see, this is, I think, a marvelous example of the numerous roof pitches, the centering of the second floor, and the reality of FEMA. Look at all that space. So again, we're trying to squeeze it in, and I think we did a pretty good job. Next, please. And here's the front elevation. Again, by far the most active elevation. It kind of says, we're here, we want to be part of Belvedere. The side elevations are the fenestration is minimal. That's the south one. Again, you'd be kind of surprised if you see a one that had that few windows. Next. The one on the back's the back elevation, viewed garage. And then we have the one facing the north, which has 2 windows in the media room, one up a stair, and then the stairs out in the little garage. Next, please. And here's our colors. It's a tannish white. I mean, we did a house basically across the street, but it had black windows. It's somewhat of the same feel. And E-Bay decks, bluestone, et cetera, et cetera. It's a white house. It's kind of what I love. I would consider it a charming cottage myself. Next, please. And here's what happens, why you put things in the center when you're taller is for shadow studies, for shadows. All the shadows, as you came in the center, do not go onto your neighbors much. We also had one on December 21st, but at that low, their fence or the fence in between caused more shadow than the house. But this is just kind of showing centering of everything is extremely important for this design in this neighborhood. Next, please. This is not that important, just massing study, basically showing this whole center theme, how we stayed away from the edges. Next, please. And then Phoebe's gonna explain the landscape design. And thank you so much.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Phoebe Holscher. And we made a change after speaking with the neighbors. So I want to present the idea. We talked about hedging along the perimeter. And when we met with the neighbors at 33, they asked for taller hedging. So we proposed to put podocarpus along the perimeter instead of the Texas privet. We also still propose to do the jasmine vines where we are kind of tight for space toward the front of the property. We have grass, I can't point, but we've got grass off the master bedroom. And we have a turf to the north side where you can see the green near the stairs out from the laundry room. We have 3 trees in the front, Japanese maple. They do not grow to 45 feet. It's 15 feet, possibly 20 over time. We propose to keep the existing cherry that's kind of nestled in the corner. The dark gray parts that you can see at the entry, little small entry courtyard and the stairs up and the entry landing and the patio off the living room are blue stone, as well as the back pathway. Again, this house is kind of trying to take its cues for its palette off of classic traditional architecture, you know, white siding, white windows and trim, blue stone, white railings, and then nestled into the trees on the front. And again, trying to create some privacy. We understand this is a much larger FEMA home We are trying to create as much privacy as we can along the perimeter with the podocarpus. And we also propose, there is a hot tub on that side off of the master bath, the primary bath. And we propose also that we can put some sort of, I think I called out 4 to 6 foot grasses to kind of create a little bit of a cozy private area there. I'm just looking at the rest. Circulation is gravel pathways. And then again, accents of lavender and low ground cover, shade loving ground cover where it's needed, where it's going to be in the shade. I think that's it. Do you have any questions?
Marcia, do you have any questions?
Yeah, yes, I do. Hi, Phoebe.
Hi, Marcia.
Yeah, you can hear me all right?
Almost.
Okay. This is the first time that we have seen this landscape plan. The landscape plan that we saw, I thought was very incomplete. I do think since there are 10 trees taken out, that there should be more than 3 put in. And it seems like there should be a minimum of at least 4 in the backyard near the neighbors for privacy and screening. So that can be something that can be added in. I'm glad to see you're putting some grasses around the hot tub, and also is that real grass that you're doing there?
Is it real grass?
Is it field?
Real grass.
Grass. Yes, real grass. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I heard field grass. Sorry.
Because I also was noting that there was so much stone and impervious that I thought there'd be really a lot of runoff from this property without anything to absorb any of the water. So that's my other comments.
Excuse me, may I interrupt for just 1 second?
Yes.
You are fairly inaudible here in the chambers, and I'm concerned that the recording may not be picking you up. Is there some way that you can adjust your volume, or could we pause and make sure? that the
No,
recording can hear you?
it's up high because the wind has totally
Oh,
taken out
Can we fix it
my
on our end?
internet, so I'm on my iPad.
No, the same problem with Marcia and Larry had the same thing. Should we switch is it because they're panelists maybe? Can we switch them, tell them to call in as a regular person and bring them in? And that maybe, because usually that volume is like blaring.
So you can't hear
Okay.
me very well?
No,
No.
well, I can kind of hear you and Phoebe can kind of hear you and no one else can hear you. So I have to repeat what you're saying. But we're
Oh,
thinking maybe if you and Claire phone back in as participants and not as panelists, that we might have a better volume. So can you hang up or disconnect and join under the regular link that a public member would join to see if we can get better sound?
all right. And so where would that be?
Does somebody have a copy of the link to email them quickly? Yeah, Nancy says it's on the agenda. So if you go to the website, Kevin's logging in and he's going to send you a link that you can come in.
Okay,
So
great.
in the meantime, I'll kind of repeat what you said, but we'll come back to you again. And then can we proceed without them or do we need to wait for them?
Are they required for a quorum?
Yes,
Then we should
Wait.
wait.
okay, so we're going to wait. Have a seat.
So can you hear me okay?
No, not really.
Okay.
So basically what Marcia was saying is 10 trees came out and she felt 4 trees in the backyard should go in. She was happy with the portocarpus and she's concerned about all the impervious increase on the lot with all the solid materials. So, but she's going to come back and we'll have a repeat.
But I think that by adding that grass, I think that solves that problem a lot. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can, but no one else can.
Okay.
So Pat, can I say one thing too?
Sure.
I guess I think this plan is much better. My only thought would be that possibly some of the planting goes in early so that it helps with the issues on 33, maybe, if that can happen.
Okay. So what Claire just said was that she thought that early plantings along the side of 33 Cove would be beneficial to go in early versus at the end of the project.
Can I add something I forgot to say?
Sure.
So we were proposing to do 24-inch boxes of podocarpus, which will go in at about 10 feet.
Okay. Let's get them back so we can all hear and,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't know what's happening on Zoom, if anyone's like. No, they're gonna come in. Okay, so they're gonna call in as, not as panelists, but participants, and it may just be that there's something in the setting that doesn't get the panelist loud enough.
Okay, so I am looking at what Kevin sent me, and all I have, it says launch meeting.
Yeah,
So can I hit that and?
Yeah, go ahead, launch. You'll hear our next.
Says Safari can't open page because address is invalid.
I think you have to sign off of the meeting that you're on
Oh, okay,
now. You
sorry.
have to leave.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, bye-bye.
So
Okay.
Sammy, can you send me the phone number that I'm supposed to call in on?
Can you send?
It's just a Zoom link. You want to send them the phone number too?
Well, there's a phone number. Yeah, hold on.
Sure, I'll send you the phone number.
Yeah. It's right here.
Oh, so Kevin, you're sending it, right?
Kevin's sending it.
Yep.
Okay. Nothing's coming.
That's why we have him. He's such a techie.
So Pat, can we just talk and no one can hear us?
Well, not quite. Some people can. hear you, but
Okay, so there's Kevin. So is that the number that you just sent me, Kevin?
That's the phone number to call in.
Okay.
And then you have to hit,
I'm sending the ID too.
and you have to hit the *9 once you get signed in to get recognized.
No, it just went away. Oh, wait. Oh, here, okay,
So I sent you a phone number and the ID.
okay. The phone number 888-788-0099.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, it's a lot. What I'm saying is that we're talking right now, walking as she is. I can hear her through the Zoom app, fine, but we can't hear her, so the problem with this end somehow, some settings.
Yeah,
I'm trying the other thing.
I don't think we've tried the panelist part of it, have we? Maybe in city council.
Pat, she needs to log out of the webinar
Well,
panelist and then
Okay.
call back in just on the phone.
yeah. Bye-bye, she's gone. Thank you. I did say that. I need to leave.
What number are you?
Okay, can I be heard? Okay, I'm not muted now. Am I hearing? Huh.
I'm gonna come down. Because this, I called in, it really doesn't work. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfectly.
Okay, I'm coming down.
Lasky.
And I think I'm fine, so I'm coming down. Goodbye.
No, don't.
What?
Don't. We can hear you perfect.
You can?
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound great.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Lasky, you can stay home.
Marcia, what did you do? Did you dial in or are you on the Zoom link?
No, I went back in Zoom. I dialed in, I couldn't get it to work. I don't know.
Thank you, Marcia.
Yes, okay. So Phoebe, you're still there?
No, Marcia, please,
Yes.
wait. Sorry, Phoebe.
Yeah, no worries.
Unfortunately, I think because of how the meeting has been conducted so far, that we're going to have to continue the meeting when we have a quorum available.
Don't we have a quorum now with 4 of you? And we've got 4. We'd really like to continue.
You want me to try to tell Claire to go back in on Zoom?
Marcia, can you mute yourself for a second?
Yes.
We have 5 attendees and 3 are present, so that makes a quorum because it's the majority of those attending the meeting. We have 1 recusal, 1 absent. There's 5 remainder, 3 are here.
Okay. Is- Okay, so I think we're good now with legal counsel, so I think we can continue.
All right, thank you.
So we don't have, oh, there's Claire. Can you speak, Claire? You're muted, Claire.
Okay, now.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Marcia, do you want us make your comments all over again so everyone can hear?
Sure. So you can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
good. My comments were really that I thought that there need to be some additional trees since there are 10 trees to be taken out. And actually, we couldn't find the signed exemption that was allowing for those 2 trees to be cut down, but there were actually 3 cut down. So in my opinion, there need to be at least 4 more additional trees that will be give some screening to the neighbors. So those need to be in the backyard. So that needs to be done. And it's I'm happy to see the grass. So that eliminates some of the stone in the back, and also the grass near the hot tub. I think that's a great addition. Let's see. The applicant mentioned when we were there that he was also going to replace the tree on the street, and that was not noted on the plans that we have. And he was talking about putting an additional one on the street, and also about putting some trees to replace the ones he took out on the alley to block, to screen the shopping center. So that doesn't show on this either. So I don't know if you want to address that, Phoebe.
So yes, the owner has bought some more podocarpus for the alley, for screening at the alley. And as far as adding another tree to the sidewalk, we're talking about out at the sidewalk.
Uh-huh.
And yes, I mean, if that's what he told you, that's what we're doing.
I mean, I'm not making that, you know, imperative, but he just had mentioned that he was
Yeah.
going to put another one on the sidewalk.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I have to say, I was a bit shocked when I saw the rendering of the house that David just showed with the white fence and the white house. It was a bit glaring. I don't know if you can consider doing the fence out of another material. It seemed very bright. And so if indeed, I think it would be helpful to change that fence, and or a tree would also be helpful there.
Yes, I think that adding some trees along the front and softening the edge is a great idea. I believe there are a couple spare holes in the sidewalk from trees that were removed before that haven't been replaced. So I think that that's an excellent idea. Personally, I think tying the fence into the material of the house, like so many of the neighboring properties, is a more coherent way to go. But I think that the landscape can definitely be used to soften that and tie that in.
Okay, because you, along the fence, you have bougainvillea, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you could, is that on the house side or the sidewalk side?
We have it drawn at the house side, but we can also introduce more on the sidewalk side as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Those are the only comments I have on the landscaping.
Thank you, Marcia. Claire, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I was just hoping that it was possible to do some of the planting on the sides early on, so that it might help with buffering the sound during construction.
Thank you. Commissioner Hart, do you have anything for Phoebe at this point?
Yes, this rendering and the ones we have are, I'm not focusing on the area towards the alley. All it shows on our things are blue pavers, excluding the garage, but blue pavers everywhere. And here you have a section that I don't know what it is.
Okay, where are you talking about?
Next to the garage and the gray area
Oh.
in front of the garage.
Yes, that is gravel. And then the dark on the north side is the pavers and then gravel. And then there is a concrete parking pad for 2 cars.
Okay. I would echo Commissioner Lasky's request of more trees, and I think you have put in, I can't see what it is you label them, but that little grassy rectangle by the stairs going up to the 2nd floor. You have little bushes there, but I think that is space enough to put in 3 major trees that can grow there and cover that whole flat, massive building for the neighbors at 33, but keeping the podocarpus hedge and then having something much, much taller and evergreen planted in, not Japanese maples that we all know
Sure.
are deciduous.
Sure.
And then, of course, yeah, the street trees, I think, would be an excellent idea to add, so you don't see this mile-long white fence. But that's about it for the planting.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Burke?
Nothing to add to what the other commissioners have already shared.
So I don't know if this goes into the lands
Regarding planting.
regarding planning, yeah. Okay, I have no further questions on the landscaping.
Okay.
Is that the end of your presentation or?
Yes, it is. We're done for now.
Okay, thank you. So at this point, I'd like to open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to speak? Sure.
Hi.
Please state your name.
Yes, I'm just about to. Good evening. My name is Tandy Rubenstein Ford, and I'm attending tonight on behalf of Roberta and Barry McMullen. I have previously been a professional in county city planning and historic preservation in Helena, Montana. Not here. I'd like to comment on several aspects of the proposed project. First and foremost, the design of the new home at 31 Cove Road will result in a significant loss of both exterior and interior privacy due to the height of the stairs and exterior door. Anyone leaving or entering the premises from the side will be looming significantly above the proposed fence and be able to peer directly into Barry and Roberta's bed, family, and living rooms. The only option to mitigate this impact would be for them to keep their blinds closed at all times. This would then result in a substantial loss of light, which would not be a very pleasant way to live. I'm sure we can all agree on that. Further, I speculate that the height and location of the stairs and door would additionally pose a threat to their safety and security due to the fact that anyone can peer right into their home because of the height. The second point I would like to make is that, and this is due to my background, I think it's a shame to allow another lovely and historic Belvedere cottage to be torn down. These once ubiquitous structures are what add charm to the city and a juxtaposition to the larger Belvedere homes. Thank you very much for allowing me to express my opinions tonight.
Thank you. I'm forgot, sorry, it's been a meeting. So I'm going to close the public meeting hearing from the public for 1 minute because I don't think we completely asked the architects questions. We got so hung up on the landscaping, we forgot about the buildings. So I'm going to reopen questions from the commission to the applicant regarding anything in the plans, structure or landscaping, anything you want to further discuss. So Commissioner Hart, you want to lead us off?
Yes. Yes, I have poured over this as it is our only item. We've all had a lot of time to look at this. And I've also followed Sammy's great report, and he gave us 4 points that he thought we should look at. So I'm going to ask you if you have thought, as you say that you are trying to put everything in the middle, and it seems like the other homes are having exactly the opposite. They are not having their living spaces on the street. They're having their outdoor living spaces in the back. So hence their objection to these, especially the second story, very high open air, sunlight, view invasion on their living space. And all of us who live here, we know that's what we covet most, is that we can open a door and go outside and enjoy it. And I feel that as one of Sammy's bullet points is that if you have in any way, and I know we're not here to redesign this house, but thought of massing the bulk and mass more towards the street, maybe taking a little bit out of the 15 feet high vaulted ceilings and putting the central 2-bedroom section more towards the street, and then moving everything else a little bit with it. Because I feel like you do have the space, and I think it would be very thoughtful to the neighbors if you did that. Then I have another thing, a thought that the 2 windows that face number 33 that are only staircase windows, you could probably just as easily get 2 skylights that would supply the light for that staircase, instead of having windows that turn on and off with lights right over the neighbor's outdoor area where they are. And just a second. And also your wall plates are pretty high to be a small cottage. They are, I think, 10 feet in many places, and if not 9. And then you have the pitched roof on most of the rooms that go up to 14, 15 feet. And I think if you lowered the pitch, you would lower the roof line and you would lessen the mass and bulk on the neighbors. I don't know if you can answer all that. I know I've been rambling on. It's
I
just.
can give it a try for
Okay.
sure. Okay, I'm going to take this kind of one item at a time. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. The second story is actually it's a small second story. You said it's very high. It's of course very high because of FEMA. You know, we have plate heights on the second story that I believe are either 7'6" or 8 foot. They're not tall. That back space where the second story is a 9-foot ceiling It's not a 10-foot ceiling. The 10-foot plate height is only in the main room at the front of the house. Okay, everything else steps down to 9 feet so that we could, again, make them as low as possible. So that response is for the comment about how high the upper floor is and to address the 10-foot ceiling and plate issues. The facing the neighbors, we've got a couple of things. One was talking about the windows facing the neighbors and could we have skylights instead? You know, that's certainly an option. It's interesting because usually when we show up here, you guys don't want big blank walls with no windows. And it's usually like, wait a minute, we need some windows in there to create some movement. So I understand that comment. We want to create privacy. One thing we could talk about with our client is to have opaque windows instead of clear windows. You know, if it was, we can talk about not having any windows at all, but I think a big blank wall, typically you guys don't want to have. So that's that issue. And then why can't we move the floor forward? Our clients, the very first initial design inspiration, they really came to us saying, we want to engage with the street. We want to engage in the direction of the lagoon. We want to have kind of a covered porch and a living room that spills out toward the street with trees. And that's where the kids and the action is. Mm-hmm. That's what we created for them with this great room with a vaulted ceiling. If we pulled the upstairs bedrooms over, we wouldn't be able to give them that big open great room. And that is a very important beginning of the design concept for them. The other thing too, that we thought we were doing a good thing is usually when we show up in front of design review, you guys don't want a big, tall facade facing the road. In the past, we've had, why can't you break it up and put the upper floor further back? So we thought that made sense to put the upper floor in back, especially over lower ceilings. So there was a logic to that. And we thought that that was a good idea to break up the massing on the road and not create even more height on the road due to FEMA. Because of course, that's, we're starting with that reality that we have to come up that much. I think that's, did I answer the questions and
Okay,
comments?
how about the softer pitch on all the roofs instead of 8 /1 or whatever it is?
Yeah, it's about 8 and 12.
10, I think, yeah.
Yeah, 8 and 12. We can talk about that and bring a little bit of height down. I mean, the aesthetic of a slightly steeper pitched house is more classic. It's more traditional. The shallower it gets, the more it gets to either vast overhangs, which don't work here, or it becomes kind of more ranch home. And that wasn't the inspiration for the design. So that's why we chose that.
Except the pitches you see only from the neighbors, really. So it's not from the front
Yeah.
that you see.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at lowering the pitch a little bit.
Anything, any feet you can bring those down, I think the neighbors would be very happy.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Then one question, where and if are you going to put the solar?
Well, the solar will be, I'd have to look here, but yeah, it would be on the south facing roof. Is that a design review issue?
No, I was just curious.
Just curious. Yeah, I mean, they're going to go up. It's a new home. So yeah, it's a California mandate. Yeah.
And then your garbage area, where is that?
So the garbage area is actually, and I apologize for us not pointing that out. It's underneath the deck on the side of the house. There's enough height there. It's one benefit to the FEMA, so we can tuck the cans under there.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Berg? Commissioner Berg?
Thank you. My questions are centered around the same issue. I think Commissioner Hart went to the heart of the issue, is just in what can be done to address or to mitigate the scale and mass that second story presents. And so I think one question was, what could you do with the pitch of the roof? So it sounds like that's something that you could consider. Help me understand, the height of the ceilings in those bedrooms is what? And are those vaulted ceilings or they're not in the bedrooms?
They are going to be vaulted ceilings for sure. We're going to take advantage of that because they are small rooms and there's no reason to create a flat 7'6" or 8-foot ceiling in a new home. That would be a real unfortunate thing, I think.
Well, one reason could be to address the issue you're creating for the neighbor. I mean, that is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if we had to go to a flat roof, yeah, then we would want to create as much height in that room as possible. That's why we prefer the pitched ceiling, because at least at the perimeter, it's as low as we can get it.
Right.
And then it increases in height as it moves away from the neighbor.
Because there's, I mean, and we all know this, there's a couple of levers you can pull. You can either move the mass forward, which that doesn't sound like it's desirable. You could either lower the mass, or you can put things around the mass to screen it or to soften it.
Yes.
And it's probably, in this case, a number of those things or more than one would be needed to create an experience for the neighbors that was more palatable to what they're facing right now, because I think that's really the major issue, is just the massing there. So that would be one comment as it relates to that, just reinforcing what Commissioner Hart had raised. The other issue was windows on both sides. I think both neighbors have had concerns about the windows, and I think there was an agreement with the neighbor at 29 that they would be clear story windows now. And so if that's the case for that neighbor, would that be something you would consider for the other side as well? So for instance, that bedroom window could be a clear story window instead of. So I think it's window 2
I
and
think
4.
we're definitely open to it. We do need egress out of that room.
There's still a north
So we could,
west facing window.
right, the window behind the roof of the lower area. Yes, I think we can work with that. We can see what we can come up with.
Yeah, so I think windows 201 and 204 are, I'd say, windows to address or to think about in terms of, again, addressing the concerns of the neighbor. We already talked about landscaping and the trees and how that could also help with the screening, both for the second story, but then also for the shopping center behind. Let me just look. In terms of the hot tub, I think also there was a conversation I think you had with the neighbor about some sort of curfew on the hot tub. And I was wondering whether or not you were able to get that in writing or to confirm that with the neighbor, because that's something that will just come back to haunt everyone if it's not.
I don't know how to answer that because I wasn't the one that had the conversation, but I do know that the owners have had the conversation with the neighbor and talked about the curfew.
Right. I just think that's something that would be helpful to keeping good relations on an ongoing basis.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking to see if there's anything else in my notes that wasn't already covered. No, I think those are the main things.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Slaymaker, please.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Yay. Okay, so I would also agree with my fellow commissioners. My issues were pretty much the same. And so I won't go into that because it sounds like we have some good ideas to mitigate those issues with the neighbors on either side. I did have one thing I wanted to talk about, and that was the stairs that go on that north side. Would it be possible to move those back closer to the garage, go in where you have the laundry room now, and then extend where those stairs were to have the laundry room there, so that it would be really on the back side and not an issue for 33 to see coming up and down?
No, we don't want to move the stairs to next to the garage. That we went through quite a few design renditions to arrive at this with the laundry in the back. And it is a logical, we need access from the house down through the side yard and out. I mean, that's a very, I think it's a legitimate request. What I do think is, I really loved Commissioner Hart's ideas about the trees out there. I think that that can be a really successful solution. And one thing also that we can do is, where the privacy is threatened by, again, let's please remember, this is not the main entry to the house. This is a laundry room access. But what I thought we could do is create a sort of screen outside that door. You come out to a landing and it turns right and down the stairs, and we can have an architectural screen there, not just landscaping, so that you don't, the bodies come, you know, when the neighbors are out in their courtyard or in their house looking over, they're not going to see somebody come out that door, and vice versa. I think that there's a way we can do that and be very successful, because that was the point, is to protect the privacy. And I think we can come up with something that would do that.
We lost Marcia. Anything else, Claire?
No, I think that if we could come up with something, that would be great. But I do want to remind you that anytime they go into the garage, they're going to be going up those stairs. So there will be people coming in and out a lot.
Okay, we lost Commissioner Lasky. So in the meantime, I think Commissioner Hart had one more comment to make.
I forgot to say that I did hear also about the hot tub, and of course, as we all know, it's not enforceable to have people say, I will not do this or that. So to me, that falls on deaf ears. So instead, I've been playing with your plan and thought maybe you could consider moving the hot tub to a more private and less disturbing area for the neighbor at number 29. And that would be on the inside of the doors leading out to the grassy area from the primary bedroom. You have space there, you would have privacy. It would be nearly 20 feet further away from the neighbor's fence. Maybe it's nicer to walk out to a hot tub from a bath room or bathroom rather than from a bedroom, but I think maybe that would be something that the owners could consider.
Okay. We will talk about it. Absolutely.
And I also want to say that I feel just like Commissioner Slaymaker, that as there are only two entrances to your house as design, it's one through the front entry and one through the door by the laundry to go in to the house, that that side staircase will be used a lot. And I think everything should be focused on trying to hide it, screen it, or anything you do. And to go back also to my comments about the staircase and the windows, I think maybe the bottom window could be screened with trees, but I think the top window could have a skylight above instead of a side window on the wall.
Okay,
Done.
thank you.
Okay, so we're minus Commissioner Lasky, so I guess I'll go. So you said that the stairs are for access to the laundry. Is it just access to laundry or just a back way into the house closer to the garage?
It's both. It's a back way into the house through the laundry. The idea is, again, paddleboarding out on the lagoon, coming in.
They're not on the lagoon.
They don't have access to the lagoon? I thought
No.
they- Okay, well, okay, let's create a different scenario then. They're visiting a friend who, and they're paddling with them. I apologize. I didn't know. I thought they had access. Okay. But the point is, whatever, is going on outside, they have a back door in through the laundry room. I mean, that's typically kind of a.
Okay. And because I was a little confused because you only had a 10-foot wide garage by 18, which is basically a one-car garage. So, and you didn't show on your plans that there was a parking pad. So, and did I hear you say that it's a 2-car parking pad?
Yes, there's going to be that kind of gravel space next to it, and the
Right.
concrete is going to be,
What's
there's going to be room.
What's the width of that? About,
It's at least 20
okay,
wide.
okay. So, I think that my prior commissioners have kind of stated the facts regarding the privacy on the 33 side and also the concern on the south side with the hot tub and the windows on the second story. And I understand there's some kind of agreement on that. And if you look at the
Great.